Good evening. Welcome. It's Friday. I haven't streamed on Friday on a long... And I'm out of practice, right? I haven't streamed on Friday in a long time. Welcome, everybody, to the show. My name is Stuart Davis. I'm a flawed man of God. I'm a deacon at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a biblical scholar. I haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. What I'm doing here is discussing Christianity. So, good morning, Fig. So, if you are looking to start a relationship with Christ, if you are just interested in finding out what there is past this life, may I invite you to continue watching this program. We talk about Christianity. So, one of the things I try to do here is dispel some preconceived notions of what church should be like. It's not a very stuffy, judgmental place. It is a place for people who are seeking healing from sin. When you're in the right church, this is stuff that we're trying to do. But it also means that we're taking accountability for our actions, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And you might run into somebody like me. And that should be hopefully not too off-putting to you. But I am a non-denominational Protestant. I don't subscribe to any particular denomination or doctrine. I'm just in the Word every day. And so that's what we do here. We just, like I said, we discuss Christianity. We do Bible readings. We go through all sorts of different Christian-related topics, make comments on current events. And we've got a long weekend coming up, and it is Memorial Day weekend. So, oddly enough, the way these readings tend to pop up, the last one we got before Memorial Day is one about war. So we're going through Deuteronomy, and we're hearing a lot from Moses. And what he's been doing a lot recently in what we've covered in Deuteronomy so far are rehashing what we've learned and what has been explained to the Israelites throughout Leviticus and Numbers. But tonight we're going to do something just a little bit different, because we're going to hear him talk about some stuff that we haven't really spoken of a whole lot. So, it just happens to be about war tonight. So we're going to do it. We're going to keep it pretty short. At least that's my idea. Now, before we get into that, do our housekeeping stuff. We do have Monday. I will not be streaming, or probably not streaming. I might actually. Was supposed to do softball, but softball is going to be delayed because of Memorial Day weekend. It will be Tuesday, and I will be taking that Tuesday off because I've got a stream coming up, possibly. So we have scheduled a big stream, and it is the homeschool stream, and it is with me and Nick Ricada and the Rafter and possibly Eric Rollon and Christian Mario. Coming on to discuss homeschooling experiences, both as a homeschool kid or as a parent doing homeschooling, pros, cons, experiences, just all sorts of input, dispelling rumors, and all this other stuff. However, one of the big the headliner for that for this stream was Nick Ricada, who is still wrapping up his Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp trial. They are waiting a verdict from the jury, so we might have to reschedule this. This is going to be tough, and I don't know if it'll be easy to reschedule in the near future. My ideal would be to do it this coming Thursday instead. We'll have to see how everything comes together. But like I said, I haven't talked to Nick yet, basically, on whether we need to reschedule. It might be something we need to play by ear. Either way, we've got stuff going on. I've got stuff going on that Wednesday as well. So if that show gets canceled, I won't be streaming because I still have other things I've got to do. So next week's going to be kind of a weird week. Stick with me though. And I promise once we get this thing going, be entertained. Hopefully he enjoys it, because I've got some other stuff that we've talked about possibly having him on the show for as well. Other good topics that I think he'd give a great perspective on. So with that said, let's get into Deuteronomy. Now, this is gonna be interesting for me because I am, yeah. What do I have a life? Yeah, Fig, I do have a life. That's part of why this show is actually as low budget as it is and kind of slapped together. I don't have an intro. I don't have a don't have a logo. I don't have any of the fancy stuff. Um, I don't have a fancy camera. Don't have a fancy mic. The audio, I don't think when I hear the replays, the audio doesn't sound all that great. It still sounds better than what you find on some people's podcasts, but still, it could be much better. So, it is what it is. And like I said, it's still a hobby. I haven't even been doing it for a year yet. So if it comes to something that it sticks, if I start getting a much larger following and it necessitates um, me growing a little bit and investing some more money, I absolutely will. But at this point, there's no demand. The demand isn't there yet. So, and Fig, welcome back. I'm glad to see you tuning in. I've missed you the past few episodes. What have you missed? If you go back, I did a couple of last week. We didn't cover much on the Bible side. I was just talking about a few different topics. But we did this week. We've done Deuteronomy. Laws and courts, offerings for priests, occult practices. Thou do not suffer the witch to live. A great line that 40K stole from the Old Testament. Law courts, we were talking about, and what happens when a king comes as well. And cities of refuge, basically, something like a sanctuary city, but kind of a due process sanctuary city, like a place you can go to avoid being punished while, everybody's trying to sort out the crime that you've been accused of. So, now we've got some cool stuff coming up too. And we've still got a way to go. We've still got a few, probably, let's see. If we're doing one chapter tonight, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've still got a couple of weeks of Deuteronomy left if we go straight through. So we'll talk about those as we get there. But nothing earth-shattering, Fig. In fact, this is going to be one of the first ones that we've done that actually kind of gets away with what stuff that's discussed in Leviticus and Numbers. And it's kind of, this touches home to me. Obviously, if you don't know, I am an Iraq veteran. I don't talk about it a whole lot. There's, not a whole lot for me to discuss that's anybody's business but my own. But it is something that, it is an experience that I hold very personal to myself, and I respect the many people who served with me, and those of us who did not make it back. Memorial Day is a time for deep reflection on that, and something that we can praise God that He has given men and women in our military in the last few years the courage and the willingness to put lives on the line to protect what is a society that should be better than it is, but is still better than a lot of places out there. We fall short of deserving of even coming even close to deserving the gifts and the blessings and the natural resources and the freedoms that we have here. And that's something that we'll discuss further on once we get into Judges and we start talking about talk about what I feel like is the ideal way to run society. But it's kind of like one of those societies in a vacuum. But again, it's the way I think it's the ideal because the Bible lays it out and it makes a whole lot of sense. I'm much more smaller government pro smaller government, and I think that what God set up is very much a small government, local government, one run by faith, and one that, and though even though they're small, ultimately they all answer to the big guy upstairs, that is God. So, um, but we'll get into more of those. In fact, that's another episode I'd like to get Nick on to talk about. Being the small L libertarian that he professes to be. Um, so, um, but Memorial Day is a special day. So, while you're grilling, while you're out with the kids, while you're out with your family, while you're out enjoying playing video games, doing whatever it is that you're spending that time off for, hoist one up for our folks who didn't make it back. Who didn't make it back. All right, let's get into it. All right, sure. Oh, I stopped sharing? No, I didn't. There we go. Go chapter 20 of Deuteronomy, going to war. And you're welcome, Fig. Thank you. Thank you for your words. Chapter 20. When you go to war against your enemies and see horses and chariots and an army greater than yours, do not be afraid of them, because the Lord your God, who brought you up out of Egypt, will be with you. When you are about to go into battle, the priest shall come forward and address the army. He shall say, "Hear, Israel, today you are going into battle against your enemies. Do not be faint-hearted or afraid. Do not panic or be terrified by them. For the Lord your God is the one who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies to give you victory." Yes. Maybe he ran across like Theoden in the Return of the King. Go forth and fear no darkness. The Lord is with you. I mean, we're going to find out, and this isn't the first time. We're going to find out that what should be obvious, and it's obvious for us reading it. It's like, okay, God's saying he's on your side. Okay, so he's going to kick everyone's ass when y'all go into battle. Like you're going to have to. You're probably just going to be going through the motions, but God's got this tied up. So just have faith in him. Do what you're supposed to do. The army that you're facing might be bigger, badder, stronger, more organized. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. God's going to lay waste. You're going to reap the benefits. And hear the lamentations of their women and children. And so, but instead, the priest comes out and he's just talking to them up. Hey, have faith. Be not afraid. That doesn't mean you're making it back. We're going to talk about that next. The officers shall say to the army, "Has anyone built a new house and not yet begun to live in it? Let him go home, or he may die in battle and someone else may begin to live in it. Has anyone planted a vineyard and not begun to enjoy it? Let him go home, or he may die in battle and someone else enjoy it. Has anyone become pledged to a woman and not married her? Let him go home, or he may die in battle and someone else marry her." Then the officers shall add, "Is anyone afraid or faint-hearted? Let him go home, so that his fellow soldiers will not become disheartened too." When the officers have finished speaking to the army, they shall appoint commanders over it. So, I would love to know more into the context of this. Is he being sarcastic? Oh, did you just begin to build a house? Well, you better go back and enjoy it. You might die. And then somebody else gets to live in your house. Oh, you got a new vineyard? Oh, well, go home. Make wine, be merry, because you might die in this battle. Or is he saying legit? Or is this a legitimate call to, hey, look, folks who've kind of just doing, reaching milestones in their lives, you guys go home, you guys enjoy your time. We've got plenty of soldiers here who are, ready, willing, and able to go forth. If any of y'all have ever seen the movie, and if you're looking for a good movie to watch during Memorial Day, there's plenty of them out there. But the one I was going to reference specifically was We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson. Came out right when I was just a wee recruit in basic training in AIT. It is a very good. He does a decent job. It gets a little corny at times on the home front side, but he does a decent job taking a good book by a very good military leader, Colonel Halmore, which the book is way more technical, but written in a way that you knew that the man at the front cared about the men behind him and the men he was sending into battle. Um, he was the first man in and the last man out, and he didn't leave his guys behind. And that's an important takeaway, something that we haven't always been good at. But like I said, some men are good leaders, and Hal Moore was a good leader. Mel Gibson does a good job bringing that story to life and telling a very real account of what goes on. And but they do have kind of some cutaways where they leave the battle and go to the home front and talk about, these a lot of these folks. We're talking about Vietnam. A lot of those folks are just married or just had a kid or just like this, that, and the other. One thing I love about the book is that the guy, when Colonel Moore went was talking about his men in this book, he's like, he's doing it all tactically because I'm setting up my gunners here. My light machine guns are going to be set up here and here. He talks about who's on the machine gun and where he came from and what his wife's name was or things that he liked to do. Like he knew these guys. And like I said, just a great piece. The movie tries its best to pay homage to that, and that's a good setting if you're looking for an idea for something to watch and you haven't seen it. We Were Soldiers, very based and very good, and kind of giving that aspect. But again, we're talking about here. So I'd like to know in this passage, verses 5 through 9, are they being sarcastic, or are they saying, hey, you can do this, you can go home, but you should have faith in the Lord that he'll bring you back safe and sound, or, he'll take you if it's your time. And then at the end, all right, now is everybody done leaving? Are everybody who's ready to, who doesn't want to be here, go? And then from there, you appoint the commanders over it. I don't know what Israeli machismo was like back then, if that was something that was only just said kind of, out of habit, and everybody's like, no, I'm not leaving. But don't know. The Israelites in many respects, and sometimes they are very valiant, and sometimes they're very cowardly, which is a great reflection of people today. Again, we point out a lot of the dumb stuff that the Israelites do, but in many ways, they're a reflection of us, and we are no better in many respects. All right. Now on to the attack. When you march up to attack a city, make its people offer an offer of peace. If they accept and open their gates, all the people in it shall be subject to forced labor and shall work for you. If they refuse to make peace and they engage you in battle, lay siege to that city. When the Lord your God delivers it into your hand, put to the sword all the men in it. As for the women, the children, the livestock, and everything else in the city, you may take these as plunder for yourselves, and you may use the plunder the Lord your God gives you from your enemies. This is how you are to treat all the cities that are at a distance from you and do not belong to the nations nearby. Okay, so again, here we go. We're talking about rules of engagement. I put that in the title here. Come up. All right, we're going up to attack the city. Make an offer of peace. Hey, we're here. God's with us, so you're going to lose. You can choose to fight, to give up, and if you give up, we'll make you slaves. Or you could fight, and then we'll kill all the men and take the women and children and livestock for ourselves. So, I guess it all comes down to what you want to do, what the other guy wants to do, and then you go based on what they ultimately decide. This is how you are to treat the all cities that are at a distance from you and do not belong to the nations nearby. So we're talking about like independent city-states, I guess. Remember, we're talking about still a somewhat disorganized Middle East Fertile Crescent area. And so there are probably some small standalone cities that are independent of others. Because we're talking about peoples like Canaanites, Jebusites, all these other folks. They're not all, established nations, but they are like peoples, maybe ethnicities. I don't know. Ignore what I said because I don't know. However, in the cities of the nations the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, do not leave alive anything that breathes. Completely destroy them. The Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, as the Lord your God has commanded you. Otherwise, they will teach you to follow all the detestable things they do in worshiping their gods. You will sin against the Lord your God. This is important. Rules of engagement, man. This is what, look, in the military, they teach you to follow orders. Big man sends the order down. You do what the big man says. Big man's telling you here, look, you go up to one of these independent cities, one of these non-identified folks, you give them an offer of peace. Give up or we'll destroy you and take your women, children, and possessions. And if they do it, then you honor your word. But if they don't, you honor your word and you destroy them and take their women, children, and possessions. However, there is no quarter, no survivors among the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. This is important. We've already told you. God has committed the promised land to the Israelites. He made this promise to Abraham. He made this promise to Isaac. He made this promise to Jacob. This was a covenant. These folks have done evil, detestable things to the point where either they are, as a people, completely genetically, in a blood way, just completely compromised, or just because of the culture, there's no sense in risking its spread by letting anybody live. Wipe them all out, and do not do what they did. Why? Because the things that they do, which are oftentimes at odds with the Ten Commandments, things that God deems specifically are wholesome, that will spread to you. And then you will be breaking God's covenant. And God doesn't want to see that. He wants the Israelites to remain loyal, faithful, and wholesome. So don't leave anything standing. When you lay siege to a city for a long time, fighting against it to capture it, do not destroy its trees by putting an axe to them, because you can eat their fruit. Do not cut them down. Are the trees people that you should besiege them? However, you may cut down trees that you know are not fruit trees and use them to build siege works until that city at war with you falls. Don't cut down the fruit trees. Don't cut down the fig trees. There you go, fig. There you go, fig. You and the rest of the fig trees are saved. Because you are fruitful, right? Fruitful, except for unlike, and I think this is coming. I think what's going to come. What's going to happen in a second. Let me see if I can pull this up. Look, guys, I try not to get ahead of myself on things because I think it's dangerous. It's dangerous. This happened to somebody I know last week. But I got to show you something. Here we go. Share. Let me share this. You see that? You see that? That's a beatdown. That's a beatdown in progress. I'm just going to let the score speak for itself. But I could easily be setting myself up for failure because at the same time, last week, my opponent, who I was playing in fantasy baseball, was doing the exact same thing to me. I ended up beating him by 12 points by Sunday. So I could be boohooing on Monday, but y'all won't know because I'm not. Well, you might. If I stream on Monday and I lose, you'll know. I'll be honest with you about that. I'll be honest enough about it to say, hey, look, if I remember, look, I was being mean to my brother in Christ, Fig Newton, and the Lord decided to humble me. But I have faith that the Lord will deliver me this victory. Which is better. Look, my record is 4-2. It's absolutely higher than it should be. My team has underperformed in many ways. I am still doing way better than the Cincinnati Reds are. We are a absolute teetotal disaster in Great American Ballpark. We are a terrible team. However, we did put a beat down on the Cubs, which any team should, right? It was the battle for who could be the worst, and the Cubs are worse. Yes. Now it has been a very rainy day, and I will say, most of my players have not been affected by these rainouts. So that's an advantage here, but I think that you've got a bunch. If I read down here, yeah, I mean just today, 1, 2, 3, 4 position players rained out just tonight. That's points. That's points just taking them off the board. It's just taking points off the board. That could be a home run. That could be a couple of doubles. It's been some wild weather, fantasy wise. But my problem's been a mixture of hurt players and underperforming. So I traded an underperforming Jesse Winker. Well, I love that guy. It's, guy after my own heart. A guy out of Cincinnati. We never should have traded him, but he's struggling. So I traded him for an equally struggling Teoscar Hernandez. But Hernandez has been hurt, so he's missed the beginning of the season. So I'm hoping that he just picks up once he gets up to speed and gets into midseason form, and I'm just killing it with him. I've got where is he? Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant's been hurt most of the season. Mitch Haniger's been hurt most of the season. Max Muncy has been underperforming, significantly underperforming. I don't want to tell you guys. However, my pitching, solid. Sandy Alcantara, Nestor Cortez, Craig Kimbrell, Ryan Presley, Mackenzie Gore, who's kind of on the bubble, Noah Syndergaard, Kyle Wright. Is it Kyle Wright in Atlanta? I think it's Kyle Wright. Oh, I closed it. Darn it. I think it's Kyle Wright in Atlanta. Luis Castillo and Clayton Kershaw is on the IL. When he comes back, it'll be either Gore or Castillo dropping off because my pitching, my rotation is pretty good, and my relievers are pretty stout as well. So, all right, well, that's enough of the baseball talk, and we've talked about we've talked about going to war. This stuff is important. It's important for you to understand. Rules of engagement are very important. And a well-disciplined army is important to have because, and this will be something I get into later on once Joshua is leading the Israelites into battle, why you should listen, what it is that you should do, why obedience is important. And as we go through the Old Testament, we'll learn and often what happens when you ignore God and he starts making you pay for it because his patience is it's amazing with the Israelites. His patience is amazing with us. And look, we'll get that fixed. So, with that said, everybody, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your 3-day weekend if you get it. Give thanks to the people. If you're an American, give thanks to the people who have secured this land for us, and at least see enough worthwhile in this country to go out and try to make a living, putting our lives in somewhat dangerous situations, to guard it and guard our interests where they see fit, which is oftentimes at the whim of politicians, which is that's not a safe place to be. Politicians are much more dangerous to us in the military than our enemies are. So, with that said, everybody, hopefully we've got a stream Tuesday night. Hopefully we've got a great stream Tuesday night. Hopefully that'll bring in a lot of eyes, some new subscribers, and maybe some people who will stick around. And it won't just be me and Fig, or Lauren or Liz or Rafter, talking in the chat box. So here's to hope for it, because I'd love to get this place a lot more action, because that'll mean we can slow down on these Bible readings. We can put more time into getting different people's perspectives and discussing it. And I think that's going to make this channel's longevity and purpose much more decent. All right, everybody, you all have a good evening. Have a good weekend. Be safe. Good night, and God bless.